We've gathered the faithful, turned the volume up to the threshold of pain, and aimed the spotlights towards the sky. Because this is Spaced Out Sunday. I'm your host, Everett Thiemer, and we are happy to welcome you, along with Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio, to tonight's broadcast. If you happen to miss any part of tonight's show, you can always find our archives at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. We give them to you for free. Just do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including keeping up to date on the weird and wacky news at Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, checking out some cool swag in the SOR Vault, including a Team Stump hat. And it's getting cold out there, so you should be wearing a hat. Why not look a little better in a Team Stump hat? Or joining the Space Travelers Club, where for $5 a month, you can join our ongoing chat, get involved in our forums, and soon we'll be announcing some great bonus content for the Space Travelers. Some of it involves me, some of it doesn't, so you win either way. And of course, tonight's show is brought to you by the fantastic people at Chive Charities. Please head on over to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, chivecharities.org, as we work to make the world a better place. Tonight, we have a special treat, one that I've looked forward to bringing to you guys for quite a while. Shark Island's Richard Black is regarded as one of the kings of the Sunset Strip. Founded in '79, Shark Island dominated the LA music scene with their bombastic, no-holds-barred live shows, breaking out worldwide with their 1989 release, Law of the Order, and contributions to the soundtracks of movies like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Point Break. Richard has a deep interest in alternative thinking and theories, as well as how the narration of important stories is manipulated by both the players and the media alike. And with 40 years in the music business, he's probably seen it in action. Capturing the questions and distrust of today's society, Richard, along with Shark Island, recorded a vicious version of Depeche Mode's song Policy of Truth, available on their new album Bloodline, and releasing it as a video that is sure to strike a chord with all of you. Richard, I want to say first, thank you so much for joining us and hanging out with us tonight. This has been a long time coming, and it's such an honor to get you in here to talk about some of these kind of weird and unnoticed ideas.
Oh man, Everett, I didn't know you were going to do all that. Like, embarrass me. That was That was a very kind and generous announcement, I must say. I didn't see that coming.
There's no embarrassing you.
I didn't see that. I just didn't see that coming. That's very nice, very kind of you. Hi to you, and nice to talk to you again, and all the listeners and everything. Thank you very much. Awesome.
You know, not to pile it on too thick, but for the Shark Island fans out there, the new CD has been a long time coming, and when I saw the video for Policy of Truth, two things hit me right away. The fact that you guys are back with a vengeance, and I'm really, really happy about it. And the video is loaded. It's loaded with imagery that really says you guys or you have a definite interest in what's being sold to us around the world today. And we're going to get deep into that. But before we do that, can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Shark Island, and how you kind of got into looking at some of the ideas and theories out there and what people are maybe missing?
Well, okay. Well, I was, born and raised in Southern California, and I started music when I was like 17 during a class project that we had, and started getting music, and I really took a liking to writing and stuff, and I was able to put my writing with music, got really into it, and then we started a band, and we put out a bunch of records like everybody else to try to make it big and all that, and I ended up because of music, doing a lot of traveling, seeing a lot of the world, staying sometimes for extended periods of time in different countries and stuff, and So I got kind of a perspective, a different way of thinking. Plus the fact that I've been doing this for 40 years. So I see how to put it. Well, it'll come back to me. I just lost my train of thought, but here we are. I mean, the whole thing about the Sunset Strip and all that stuff. That was a big part of our lives when we were doing as a band. We started doing a lot of gigs, and we had the entire Southern California kind of like tied up, and we had on Fridays and Saturdays we played the Sunset Strip for like almost 3 years. Every Friday and Saturday night, 2 shows every night. So we were like always available on in Hollywood on the Sunset Strip, and then Mondays we would play in another city, and Tuesday we'd play in another city. We had these different, so we did like a tour, so we didn't have to have a day job, so to speak, right? So we just did music all the time and rarely washed our clothes, and just got really tight and into playing and stuff. So it kind of moved off of there. That's it. So here we are.
Well, I was a bit unaware of, I'm going to be honest with you, it was the Policy of Truth video that really, I had no idea that you had these kind of interests, and I wanted to know, were the images in the video intentional, sort of to send a clue that you had an interest in these things, or was it just...
Of course, well, it was like I think what I was trying to say earlier with that, when I lost my train of thought, I came to I'm one of the last part of the generation that we were taught in schools how to think versus what to think. And society today is all about everybody that's come through the school system, that's just come through it. It doesn't have any, or has very little critical thinking. They are told what to think from a very early age. So I am able to, I got to see this world, this country of ours, before the Cold Revolution happened. And you may ask, what's he talking about? What revolution? Well, it's said that like the best revolution would be one in which all the buildings stay standing, right? And all the institutions kind of resemble the way they do it, but the people are changed. Their perspective has changed. And you don't need to have, military people walking the streets to have a revolution. It's just happening all around you. And people have these political positions, and they don't even know why they have them. And they don't even know if they're true, and they don't question it. They just take things verbatim, the way they're fed to think. This is how you think. So the video is basically a montage of everything non-PC, right? That's basically what it is. So it ends up being.
Yeah, the video is fantastic, guys. I posted it to my Facebook page, or you can go to YouTube or sharkislandmusic.com and check it out. It's an updated version of a classic song, and just watch it. It's going to make you think.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for the plug. It was an easy video to make. It's just like, you just take a bunch of pictures and make a collage out of it, but it does say something. And the title of the song, Policy of Truth, ended up being kind of like the mantra for the entire album.
Well, it's definitely, the first time I watched it, I almost forgot about listening to the song, and I was just looking at the images. That's how much it grabs you.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. You just gotta go. It's like watching a car wreck, and when there's a wreck on the freeway and you slow down and take a peek, when you don't want to admit that you're interested in seeing it, but you see these truths right in front of you, and it's real, and it's in your face, and it's emotional. And thanks. Thanks.
Well, let's start digging into some of these topics, because you and I talked, was it last night? And we talked a bit about the idea that college and school in and of itself has changed. When you go back and you look, we can call them the dark ages, we can call them a primitive time, you can call them what you want. But originally, the idea of college or university back then was the idea that you would go there and you would experiment, you'd let your mind wander and be free with some different ideas. And
exactly.
Over the decades, that has morphed into where when you go into college as a freshman, you know exactly what courses you're going to be taking for the next 4 years. You don't think,
right.
You just follow the path.
Exactly. You're told again, like we mentioned earlier, you're told what to think. You don't think on your own. You don't have any thought. You don't have any ability to bring forth original thought. You're just, because you're so filled with the narrative. This is the narrative. This is how you should think. This is the opinions you need to have. It's really obvious when you look at it, but it was all fed to us so gently that everybody accepts it.
And it was fed to us gently, almost over generations. I mean,
well, I would say 50 years, 40 years. I mean, it wasn't a click. It wasn't like an audible click. Hey, now it's changed. No, it was a slow. It was like the frog boiling in the water. Really slowly. You just put the frog in the cold water and turn the heat up, and then he'll just sit there till he dies. He won't even know he got burned. He won't even know he got cooked. Yeah. It's so that's what happened to us. It was just little by little. I mean, first thing, think about the absurdity of having public schools. The government in control of educating your children. If that isn't a conflict of interest, I don't know what is.
When the topic is first discussed, and when I first heard about or contemplated the idea, I was pretty okay with the idea of the government controlling the schools, because it gives the schools some stability. It provides a regimen. But the more I think about it, I agree with you. The idea of the
exactly.
government. I mean, the government is from the time you're 4 years old or 5 years old, and you're going into pre-kindergarten or kindergarten. You're being fed or told what to think by somebody who is, at the very least, an outreach of the government.
Of course. And they have the guy. They have to everything they teach has to be approved in something. There's an agenda. It has to be. It is. It's very, very obvious. I mean, it's not some. But everything. Think about it. It all comes down to trust in government. And they're the last people you should trust. You can't trust the government. You can't just inherently out of the box. You have to. I'm not saying be against the government, but just question everything. Research everything correctly, and I'm not talking about Google either, but really research it and find out what are you signing up for here? What is this?
When do you think the government started to shift a little bit? I mean, when we look at World War II or prior to World War II, everybody was, let's trust the government. We're, gung-ho for they would never lie to us. But then over the past 50, 60 years, it's changed. What was the impetus of that?
Well, that's my experience of it. Probably, it depends on who you ask. If you ask me, when my consciousness I would say probably 45 years ago for me, right? That's when I noticed it. Right, but if you ask my father, he'd probably say, well, World War One. When really we lost World War I and World War II on its heels, we just really lost who we are. I mean, war is just we changed as a society. Everybody changed. Just it was god awful, and we still probably owe all money and all the, it was just horrible. So it probably started back then, but I don't know because I can't gauge it because I don't have any feeling at all about World War II other than Nazi paraphernalia that I see occasionally, right? But that's about it. And then, of course, we can't because of Godwin's law mention the Nazis. We're not allowed to do that.
Well, yeah, let's.
No, you know what Godwin's law is. It's kind of a pun. I don't know. Some people don't know what it is, but it's really kind of interesting. It's an interesting anecdote. They say under Godwin's law, any conversation or debate, I should say, held online will eventually mention the Nazis. Always. They'll always end with either Hitler or the Nazis. So no matter what you're talking about, the argument will go and blaze and go left and right, and somebody names Hitler and it's over. So that's Godwin's law. But it's true. I mean, it's kind of tongue in cheek, but like all good humor, there's a lot of truth in it.
It is
people like throwing.
It is tongue in cheek, but I've seen it enough to say that it's.
Yeah, you see it. I mean, whether you like Donald Trump or not, he's not Hitler. You can't even come on. I mean, no matter what, no matter how you feel about it, I mean, you can be a loony feminist, but you can't call him Hitler for crying out loud. You know what I mean?
Well, as long as
people do.
As long as we're talking about the government, you want to go down the idea of the deep state? I mean, there's so many people out there that.
Yeah, I wonder about believe what do you think?
Every time I start to think it's nonsense, something happens that kind of kicks me in the head and says you're naive for believing or thinking that something isn't going on.
No, we have to conclude that something's going on. That's beyond that's totally obvious. Something is going on. Now the question is, how widespread is it? Is it one within the United States, for instance, or is it a global thing? Is it is it like Europe and America? Or is it, you follow me? We don't know how big the deep state is. We know that it exists. We're unsure of how big it is and where the tentacles go.
And the agendas, where do they go? The agendas would potentially be different for a global deep state versus maybe any nation's governmental deep state, if it was just a national thing.
I guess. My sense is that it's influenced by at least like another country, maybe Israel. Sorry, I don't mean anything, don't start corrupting me. I'm just saying it could be Europe, it could be England, it could be maybe even China. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe all this is a sham with China. I mean, think about it. I'm not talking to you on the phone right now. I'm in China. Designed in California, made in China. Now you know what I'm talking on. And we're supposed to have some big problem with them because they're a communist country. Well, the only reason we know this phone was probably put together by a child, at least in part, exploited. So where's the virtue there? So maybe there is some kind of a collusion there in this this illusion of like, oh, they're the bad guys. Hey, look over here. Those guys are the bad guys. Never mind those kids over there. Go look over there. Yeah. Why not?
Well,
I don't know. I'm not professing it. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. This phone costs more than a family would make in 10 years, probably. Ridiculous.
In one sense, it is very odd that whether you look at Russia, you look at China, you look at some of these other countries, we have these working relationships with them, where with Russia, we have some partnerships going on with obviously the space, the ISS, and our shutdown of the shuttle program. We're using some of their technology. You look at China, and we have this huge trade between us. But then on the other hands, we're arguing with them, we're fighting with them, and it's kind of a dichotomy.
It appears we're fighting with them, Everett, because if it appeared we were fighting with them, then we can save face to the people. Nobody can call a foul. We don't know for sure if this is an authentic relationship, the way it's being portrayed. How can we?
I guess we
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying we really can't. We can't. So I don't know how big this deep. I don't know how big this thing is. I mean, we all heard stories. Oh, it's the Illuminati. It's the Rothschilds. They own everything. I don't know. Maybe on the Freemasons. Oh, they're all part of it. What's the thing with the entertainment business? I have myself convinced sometime. I'm going, well, why didn't I become more popular, more financially? Why didn't I make more money than I did? Was it because of something that I believe, or something that I don't do, or something that I don't agree to?
And it's interesting that on one hand, so many of us take these statements from the governments about these situations at face value, but then at the same time, we're talking about how we can't take the government at face value.
We cannot. With anything they do, you have to question anything. You have to. I mean, I'm not saying that you need to, learn the positive truth about everything, but you just can't, out of hand, accept a premise that's put forth by the government. You just can't. It would be a very foolish thing to do. And, how powerful they are?
Maybe more powerful than we want to admit. Richard, I'm going to get you to hold on for 1 second. We're going to step out for a quick break here on Spaced Out Sundays, and we will be right back.
Okay, bye.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey Spaced Out Radio fans, it's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. We live in a world of mystery and uncertainty, which you guys know better than anyone. Sometimes you just need to be brought back down to earth for a while. One of the best ways to stay grounded is to help out with your fellow earthlings, and there's no more rewarding way to do that than to give through Chive Charities. Unlike many organizations, we don't necessarily aim to save the world, cure disease, or change the course of history. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. Chive Charities is nothing without our donors, an amazing group of underdogs helping underdogs. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Are you addicted to the woo? Good. Me too. This is Dave Scott, and you can woo it up with me every Monday through Friday, starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, for 3 hours of great entertainment in the subjects you love. UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, intuition. Yes, we hit it all 5 days a week. Look for us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, my friends, we own the night.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for some great nightlife? The Moose Vancouver is the place to be. Catch a game on one of the big screens or just come rock out to your favorite 80s and 90s hair bands. Great food starting at $6.95. The Moose Vancouver is open until 2 a.m. nightly. It's easy to find near the corner of Nelson and Granville. The Moose Vancouver is the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio. Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and strange humanoids. Truth seekers Stephen Bassett, Jeff Meldrum, Jack Kasher, and Stanton Friedman, among others, all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Sundays. I'm your host, Everett Thiemer, and I thank you for spending your evening with us. Don't forget, if you've missed any part of the show, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping in the vault, joining the Space Travelers Club, and so much more. Tonight, we are joined by Richard Black, lead singer of Shark Island, and I'm almost speechless to have him tonight to talk to him. I've been a fan for a long time. They just released their new CD, Bloodline. It's fantastic. If you haven't heard any of the singles off of it, go over to sharkislandmusic.com and check out the video. At least check out the video for Policy of Truth. Check out the song Crazy Eights. There's a couple other things and a bunch of features over there for you to check out too. Richard, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
And thank you. And another shameless plug. Unbelievable. This guy is so nice. I don't even have to say any of that. He's taking care of it. All right.
Can you tell what industry I work in during the day?
Yeah, I can tell. It's great. It's fantastic. It's kind of like wow. It's overwhelming. With
all right. We won't mention it. We won't mention it again until the end of the show.
No, we can't. It's one of those it's almost like one of the original sins we all have to kind of live with. Everybody, really, you, me included, everybody out there listening, everybody wants to be everyone else to think that they're better than they are, at least to a degree. At least to some degree, right?
I'm better than nobody.
Well, that's good. How do I know? Maybe you're lying. Maybe that's part of your shtick. I don't know. Everybody wants to be. Everybody gets in the morning, comb their hair, brush your teeth. Why? Because you want someone to, well, not beyond being healthy, but you want to look presentable. You want to present yourself in a fashion that you're a little bit better than you really are. So that's the kind of thing. So when you hear all these accolades coming at you, it's just like, oh my gosh, it makes you nervous. Oh my gosh.
Well, I certainly
very nice though.
I'm certainly. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a little nervous. I mean, usually, I've worked with a lot of musicians and done some things that not everybody's had the opportunity to do, and there's not a lot of people that make me nervous. But you make me nervous. A little bit. You could have fooled me. Well, look, we're just having a conversation. We talked a couple times even before, for everybody that didn't even think that we did. We talked a couple times. You mentioned it, and we had just some real genuine conversations that were in some ways even better than our live presentations so far. But we got some time here to redeem ourselves. We're just warming up. It takes us a segment or two to get into this sometimes.
That's right.
Before the break, you kind of alluded to the entertainment government connection, and there's that whole idea that entertainers and music people sort of have a special privilege and some special knowledge given to them by the government. And I part of me thinks that's true, but then
it is true. It is true. They're part. The celebrities are part of it. They're kind of like the equivalent of the British dynasty. The people, the celebrities, right? They're the people that they don't really lay down any. They're the mouthpieces for the government, or the cabal, or whatever you want to call it. They're like the mouth. They'll always agree to say whatever it needs to put forth the agenda, and in exchange, I don't know what they get for it. Maybe they get great tax breaks or something. But I mean, when you're an entertainer and you're doing, like, let's say you're doing a movie, and if you're a good entertainer, you're making maybe $10 million a movie or something, or if you're a really successful musician, you're making all these multi-millions. There's got to be some kind of agreement, to be able to keep most of it, or to be able to, maneuver around it from a tax position. And you have to be, be cozy with the government. You really do. You kind of got to do it, and or the deep state, whatever we want to call it. We were talking about deep state, right? So, but yeah, there's a kind of a cryptic handshake between the two, don't you think? Do you think that's so?
Well, I look at like Nixon with Elvis Presley, making him a deputy in the, what was he a deputy in the Drug Enforcement Agency, and then you look at Jackie Gleason supposedly being given secret alien technology, and I wonder if, like you said, there has to be a handshake agreement or some sort of an agreement. Is it possible that the government is even using them without their their knowledge or some way kind of feeding them particular information without them even being aware of it, making them feel like a special.
I don't think so. I think it's quid pro quo. I think it's quid pro quo pretty obviously. So I think there's a. I mean, they may not be saying it in those words, but I think that they're getting something, and somebody's offering someone's getting something in exchange. They're both benefiting. I think that the entertainer will benefit, and I think the elite. Let's call them the elite.
Yeah, that's a good word for it.
Yeah. So I think that they both get something out of this relationship. That's my opinion, anyway. My opinion.
Do you think that it's what are they getting out of the relationship? The entertainers or the public personalities? Is it just the idea that
who knows? I don't know what it is. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's a wicked tax break or something. They can retain more of their money. I don't know what it is. How do I know?
And what's the
government? I'm not in the elite, and I'm barely in the entertainment. I don't go along with the entertainment bullshit.
Well, we got to be careful with our words.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Do you? Oh, it's going to be one.
I don't cuss very often. I really don't. But
that's all right. We've had worse.
Can we use acronyms?
Sure. I think depends on the acronym.
Well, I won't. Okay.
But do you think some of these personalities are maybe being duped by the government, being used without any kind of knowledge that they are, maybe just playing off to the idea that, well, they're special, so they have this information?
Gosh, who knows? I couldn't even speculate about that. Maybe it's the devil. Maybe the devil is in control of that. of the entertainment. I don't know. I don't know. I only can speculate. I don't know what happened. It's just like, what happened on 9/11. I mean, I don't know what happened, but what they told me happened, that didn't happen. Okay, that's like where I'm at. I'm not to put forth anything specific, because what the heck do I know? I'm just a poet, a songwriter. That's all I am. What do I know? I just observe, and that's how it looks like to me, and kind of makes sense. And I kind of go, that doesn't make sense, But I don't know I don't know who. We don't even know how big this cabal is that we're talking about. These people, we don't know how big it is. This deep state, how big is it? It could be.
Is it bigger than we maybe think?
Maybe it is. Maybe it's just huge. And we just don't know, and they confuse us with fake conflicts and wars to generate, more commerce, and it's incestuous. I can only assume it just must be massive. Well, what do we do?
Let's take a look at a couple of specific aspects of the quote unquote deep state or cabal, what did we decide we were going to call it? The elites.
The elite.
Yes, the elites. But, around these circles, there's a big talk about the secret space program. And
the secret space program? Okay. All right. Let's talk about that. That's good.
Yeah. The last couple of years, there's been a lot of talk about the Space Force, and there's been positive and negative talk about it. And in a way, it's almost like an opportunity to bring aspects of the secret Space Force or secret space program out to the public. But when you look at some of these unmanned flights that they've had for 2 years, I can't remember the name of the vehicle. It's like the XB-37, I think, or something like that, that essentially flew in orbit for for over 2 years, conducting secret experiments. In a way, right there, that's the admission of some form of secret space program.
I'm not familiar with that. So is that over our planet?
Yes.
Over okay. All right. I'm not surprised.
but
I'm not surprised.
How extensive, and maybe you don't have too many thoughts on this because we didn't really talk about this beforehand, but how deep is your interest or your thoughts and knowledge on the idea of a secret space program?
Well, I don't really consider it, because I'm kind of just uncertain of what would be the motive to have a space program. What is the benefit from it? Is it just because you get financing? It's a way to funnel money from the government to an organization that claims that we're going to be flying to this planet and that planet, and we're going to do probes, and one day we're going to be on Mars and like that. Is that what they're talking about? So, and then in turn the government goes, oh, that's great. That'll really boost technology and research, and yeah, we'll fund that. So all that money that the government had, it's funneled into this cause here, and it's just another way and another reason to take money from hardworking people for essentially not. It won't help them in any way. It won't help their roads. It won't help anything. Right? It'll just be thrown away, and it's a plan to abscond some money. Because you got to remind yourself all the time, the government doesn't generate any money. All of their money is absconded from hardworking people, all of it. And they decide where they want to spend the money. So if you have this big organization called, let's say, NASA, think about all the billions of dollars that gets just pumped into there for one reason or another, and that's their justification, their cause, to take the money. Well, we have to do it. We're working on this mission to Mars. It's imperative. It's going to create a lot of jobs. It's going to create a lot of research. We're going to cure cancer from it. So take as much money as you want. So I'm kind of look at space, and I kind of go, what a grand waste of money. I mean, really, I don't know what we're going to get out of it. And I've been around space. I grew up till I was 14 years old on the edge of the canyon of JPL, right? So I was like very, very aware of the whole thing. And Pasadena was huge, rocket city with Jack Parsons and all the labs at Caltech and all that stuff, So I was very around that a long time. But now, this many years later, after I'm just looking at it, I kind of go, wow, what are we doing with this? What's the end game here? What's the benefit?
Well, what do you... Oh, go ahead.
No, what's the benefit other than I guess the only thing you could really say is, okay, well, we're going to figure out a way to grow a cabbage in zero gravity or something, or a machine to do that, some kind of a machine that's created under certain conditions to help something that's here on, or it's just a reason to do something, but I don't know what it is. I'm not an astronaut or a scientist, but it just seems to me that I don't know why. A lot of money, man. I mean, we're like $22 trillion in debt, and we're playing space games. I don't get it.
Well, what do you think?
I don't get it.
What do you think then about the whole To the Stars Academy and Tom DeLonge and the idea that they have these metamaterials and they're going to create these or try and figure out or replicate these materials, and basically the whole UFO situation today, because there's a lot of money that's been spent and there's claims of a lot of money and technological advances that can be made.
Right. But you can also say, if you want to, find a big, crowd of people that are running through a narrow hallway and set up a hot dog stand, you're going to, benefit from anything that has to do with whatever is happening. You don't know where to stop it. I mean, I don't know about. I just don't know. I mean, I'm not saying anything like I'm not making any comment on a UFO, and because I have my own pretty strong opinions about UFOs. I know you guys like mention it occasionally. But so I'm not such a thinker that I go, oh, wait, this UFO thing, somebody from another planet coming to visit, that whole thing. I'm not sure that's exactly what is being seen here by all these witnesses. Do you?
I'm not sure. I think it could be a mix of different things. I mean, it certainly seems plausible and possible that something from somewhere is visiting us, but I also see the idea that we don't know everything our government is doing or foreign governments are doing. It's certainly possible that some of the things we've seen are simply misidentified things that we don't have knowledge of yet, but are terrestrial based.
Well, let me tell you this experience I had that was really very interesting. It was about, let's say 20 years ago. Okay. I was in Pasadena, and I was on foot down by the fire station, and I'm waiting to cross this kind of a busy street. And ahead of me, across the street, in front of me, probably about 100 yards away, was this Xerox building, right? 4 stories. It was about 75 yards wide, maybe 100 yards. I mean, pretty long building, and it was deep, about half that depth. And I was looking at the building, and I knew the Xerox, because they had that big logo on the side, and I knew the building was there all the time. And I was kind of looking at it, and I noticed the top of the building, and I went, well, that's kind of interesting. I never noticed the shape of that top of that building. I thought it was just flat, with those couple of those, big old air conditioners on top or something like that, but something, sparse. But this was quite loaded up with things that looked like, like spires and antennas and boxes and round things, and it was just odd looking. And I was staring at it for a second, and all of a sudden the entire top of the building, like not the whole story, but like just the top of the building, lifted off. And I'm telling you, this is like, makes my skin crawl when I think about it, because I don't talk about it that much, but it lifted off, and I was just going, oh my God. And I you almost go weak at the knees, because you're just going, gosh, am I going insane? What the hell's going on? And all of a sudden it did a little tiny pivot, and then it took off like away from me, like a 45-degree angle. And it was so fast that it turned into like a speck within a moment. And that was it. No sound, nothing. Middle of the day, high noon, hot summer day. And that's it. That's the whole story.
Now,
I don't know what it was.
Did it look like what some people would call an alien megastructure type mothership type ship? It wasn't a small little UFO. It was pretty big.
Now, this was big. I'm telling you, it was like, it was big. It's like a football field big. And the top of it, kind of silhouette, looked like just a pile of junk. I couldn't really tell what it was. It was far enough away that I couldn't get like a super detail, but it was just odd. Imagine if you just took a big bunch of parts, plastic bits and angles and stuff, and threw it in a pile, and that's how the whole top of the thing looked, like that, with a couple things like antenna-looking things sticking up out of it. And it was just odd enough. I mean, if you didn't know the building, you didn't spend a lot of time looking at it, it can almost be, you can just not even pay attention to it. It wasn't like painted a garish color or anything. It was everything kind of, semi-matched, something that would be on a roof with gray or brown or gray and brown, like that. But I don't know what it was. I don't know what a megastructure is or anything like that. I'm just trying to describe what it was. So we know when the talk comes around ever to UFOs, I claim to have seen that. So that's where I'm coming from. So I'm not somebody that's going, wow, there's no such thing as UFOs. But you can see clearly, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if is it from another planet? Is it something built by the company or the government, or is it a time machine? I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is.
Well, it's interesting that you say it was on top of the Xerox building, because most people, I think, know Xerox from the handy way to make a copy of something. But
right. That's my experience. I mean, that's why I thought they made copy machines. You know?
If I remember correctly, they in the past have had some large government contracts dealing with information transfer and things like that. And some technological developments.
I learned that, much later, and you mentioned it to me when we were just briefly chatting about it last week. Yeah, it could be. A friend of mine also brought that up at some time. I don't tell the story very much, but what is that? So I can't poo-poo anything about UFOs. I can't. I'd be a fool. It'd be foolish to say no. That didn't happen, or they don't exist. But I just question what they are. I personally have a hard time believing. That's my personal opinion. I have a hard time believing it's from another planet, because I think if the claims are correct, the distance is just too far to be a viable object from another planet, unless they have like a way to. They figured out a way to warp space like they do on Star Trek or something.
Well, we're getting closer to that at least potentially closer to that every day. It seems like when you watch the news out of the physics world and engineering world.
Okay. Well, now you're seeing that, but now you open a can of worms, because these people also get grants from the government. I mean, now don't misunderstand what I'm going to say right now. I don't want anybody to misunderstand this or quote me up. I'm going to say one thing. Do you know for sure that the world is round? Can you prove it yourself?
Richard, I'm gonna with that, I'm gonna get you to hold on for 1 second, because we do have to go to break real quick. But when we come back,
everybody should think about it.
Yeah, everybody think about that for a few minutes, and when we come back,
think about that.
We're going to talk about whether or not the Earth is flat.
Well, well, all right, let's do that.
We'll be right back.
Finish my thought then. Okay, bye.
We'll be right back on Spaced Out Sunday.
All right.
John Resig here, founder of Chive Charities. And just like you, we have a penchant for the uncommon, the overlooked, and the off-the-cuff. Chive Charities operates a bit differently than most organizations. We listen to our recipients to find out exactly what they need, and then we give it to them. We provide people with rare medical conditions, veterans, and first responders with grant items that will make a direct impact on that person's life. We don't just forget about our recipients when the van or the wheelchair has been delivered, though. Our recipients are part of our Chive Charities family for life. By becoming a donor with us, you could be a part of that family too. And our listeners of Spaced Out Radio know that thinking differently can be a very good thing. To get to know some of our recipients and to support Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and start making a real difference today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Come hang out with me, Little Richie G, as I take over the airwaves on Spaced Out Saturdays. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm going to bring you the most fun on the radio you can have with your clothes on. We're going to get to the heart of the subjects from UFOs to what's going on in the paranormal and everything in between. So come join me at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, for the fastest 3 hours of your week.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Looking for something new to push your limits? Look Beyond the Spectrum, a new docuseries featuring some of the best researchers in the world when it comes to everything from UFOs, government cover-ups, and strange humanoids. Truth seekers Stephen Bassett, Jeff Meldrum, Jack Kasher, and Stanton Friedman, among others, all chip in to bring their knowledge to you. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon as well as Tubi TV. Tell us what you think on our Amazon page.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I'm bringing you the Woo every Monday through Friday on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going all out to bring you the strangest, oddest stories and subjects I could find for your entertainment. Why? Because when we hit peak Woo, I know I've done my job. So come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, and together, my friends, we own the night.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Sunday. I'm your host, Everett Thiemer. Thank you for spending your evening with us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. For our digital listeners, we are on Kingdom of Naya Radio and Revolution Radio. And don't forget, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. Just do us the favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping at the SOR Vault, reading up on the SOR Newswire, and then checking out Dave's weekly blog. And there's so much more that you can check out there. You got to go and check out spacedoutradio.com. The new site, well, it's not so new anymore, but it's still fantastic, and everybody's working hard, especially some people behind the scenes are working really, really hard to make that a great experience for you. Now, before the break, we started to talk about whether or not, or we hinted at whether or not the Earth was really flat with Shark Island's Richard Black. You can go check out their music, find it wherever you want. I'm not gonna get accused of a blatant plug anymore, but go to sharkislandmusic.com, take a look.
Yeah.
We're
Priceless. That's priceless.
We're
priceless.
Terrible. We're terrible. See, this is a little bit more in my element, working with music people. So if things seem a little bit off kilter, a little bit stranger, a little bit more loose, that's my life. Richard, we started talking about whether or not we really knew the Earth was flat or round.
That's actually exactly the way I put forth the question. So I'm not arguing it. I'm just asking you, or just hypothetically, or anybody else, are you able to personally prove it? I know I can't. I'm not good enough at math, and I'm sure there's probably a mathematical way that you might be able to do it. But I'm incapable of doing that because it's beyond what I can do as for my education or my intelligence or whatever. If I can get up on top of a mountain, look out in the horizon, I can get in a plane, fly, look at the map, but can I prove it? My evidence is based on what is being given to me. Oh, here's a picture of them. This is the Earth, and these are the planets, and it goes around here, and it does that, and it all looks very tidy to me, and probably is true. But the point of it all is just an exercise in critical thinking. Can you do it? Do you even know something that rudimentary? For sure. Would you bet your life on it? If there was a pistol pointed at your head, and you just go, wow, I don't know.
I believe the Earth is round, but I will say that I believe the Earth is round because of what people have told me. Like you, I'm not good enough at the math. I can't prove it myself. I've seen pictures from space of the Earth.
And then you also heard the stories. Well, these were doctored by the space, by NASA and something. So you hear that, and that kind of spoils it, doesn't it? It kind of like spoils the potion there, because you say, okay, there's an out there. Maybe it is a doctored picture. I don't know. The point is that I'm not going to go around and I'm not going to stand on a soapbox and try to convince anybody that it's not round, because I do believe it's round for different observation reasons, but that have nothing to do with it. Like, for instance, for me, if you took a splash of water and splashed it out of like out of the bathtub, right? All the little particles would fly up in the air, and each particle would probably make a circle just because of tension. Surface tension would force every drop into a round circle, right? So just because of that phenomenon, I kind of go, okay, I can see that on a big scale, and things just being like attracted and just kind of building itself round by some weird way I can't explain. So that's why I think it's kind of a natural something that I observe, and splashing water I know has nothing to do with around planets, but it's the way the element of water reacts when it's free, when it's floating in the air. It'll turn round, right? So every drop will turn round. Bubbles, when you blow a soap bubble, the surface tension forces it all just to be perfectly round and beautiful. So just because of those kind of things, I go, yeah, I could see it's probably round. But that's just the obvious thing. Think about, what about the smaller things? What about things like, we mentioned 9/11 earlier. Do we really know exactly what happened at 9/11? If I can't irrefutably prove that the Earth is round, how can I even, everything they tell me, I just have to believe it. I don't. It doesn't look right to me.
Well,
right.
One time I had to argue the point that the idea that the Earth was flat. And, the one thing, the only real evidence or argument that I could make in my defense was that every picture I've seen of the Earth has come from either a governmental agency or a corporation. And, what I said was, well, and we all know those people never lie to us.
Of course not.
Yeah,
those are saints. Those are saints. The saints among us. Yes.
Yeah. I do, like you, I do believe the Earth is round, but what do you think the purpose of the idea of this flat Earth movement is? Is it just is it a conspiracy? Is it just people looking for attention? Is it a knock on the door of truth?
What the claim of a flat? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, the whole idea of the Earth being flat and the people that go around and have their conferences and
who knows what their objectives are. Maybe they make a lot of money at talks and stuff. I don't know what their motivation is. I find people's motivations usually revolve around money in some capacity at some point, don't they? They think they can make money off of an idea. They'll exploit it.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know.
I think that's pretty universal.
Might be that unglamorous, huh?
Now, you mentioned your UFO experience, and I appreciate you bringing it up and mentioning it and talking about it, because I know it's not something you talk about often. But somebody like Stephen Hawking in the past had said that the idea of making contact with aliens could be quite dangerous. And then you have the people who have had experiences and they go back and forth between these beings are malevolent or they're benevolent, depending on, their experience, that kind of idea.
Well, sure. And it could go into a spiritual aspect of it. I mentioned earlier JPL. You familiar with JPL?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's where I was, raised, right at JPL, and then the person that started JPL was Jack Parsons, right? And some people even rumor and they say, well, JPL doesn't really mean Jet Propulsion Laboratory; it means Jack Parsons Laboratory. A lot of people say that, So all the locals there were quite aware of it. But you look at them now. You go talk about like 6 degrees of separation. Who was one of Jack Parsons' good friends? Aleister Crowley? Really? Yep. L. Ron Hubbard? Really? Yeah, they actually lived together in a bungalow in Pasadena for a while. They used to have like weird sex parties, sex magic. And he was a rocketeer at JPL. Started it. Now, this is all heavily demonic possibilities here. You can just see these connections and go, what? L. Ron Hubbard, Aleister Crowley, and Jack Parsons have a relationship? Wow. And we're talking about UFOs. We're talking about, it could be demonic. We're kind of like opening the door to like a religious type of thing, but it could be demonic. There could be a demonic component to all this. real life.
Well,
a lot of people don't like to believe in God. They think they're frightened of the notion of a God, but I mean, they don't seem to have a problem believing in a devil. But God, no. But the devil, yeah, look at the devil worship. Here's the devil hard. Look at my tattoos. Look at this. Oh, I'm evil. I mean, all the bands that I used to play with, they want to look, as mean and as evil as possible.
Well,
but,
what do
you have to?
Go ahead.
But go on.
I just wanted to ask you about, and I know that you're not a huge UFO guy, but one of the things that has sort of transpired over the last couple of years is the idea that maybe aliens aren't so much a physical being, but that they're in some way a spiritual being. I mean, they call it the extraterrestrial hypothesis versus the interdimensional hypothesis.
Yeah, I guess I would belong to the latter. I would kind of think that. I mean, UFO only means, we all know what the acronym is, an unidentified flying object. Now that could be, a tennis ball, flying through and nobody having what's this doing here? And they don't know what it is. It could be anything. But yes, there's connotations of aliens attached to UFO, but we have to ask ourselves, what is a UFO? It could be a lot of things. We have to really accept that it really could be a lot of things. Well, it could be something from another planet. It could be the government. It could be a time machine. It could be Satan. It could be it's something. It's something. These people, there's too many reports of things, and a lot of the reports are very, very similar.
Do you think the government is trying to muddy the waters a little bit? And the reason I ask that, and I know, like I said, I know you're not a huge follower of a lot of this, but over the past couple of years, the term UFO has slowly been replaced with UAP, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomena. And it's kind of trying to...
That sounds like a euphemism.
It's almost trying to... It feels like it's trying to take the alien component out of the UFO. Right. I mean, everybody knows what a UFO is. A lot of people don't or aren't familiar yet with the term UAP.
I've never heard that. I've never heard UAP. And I wonder why they would change something unless it was simply to escape a stigma or to give it a name that's a little bit more representative of what it is. Either or, right? Do you think it's more accurately depicts this phenomenon or this unknown thing? It's an unidentified flying object. Or is it just something that's like a bad, someone says UFO and you're a conspirator, you're a kook. You're a kook and you wear an aluminum hat. What the hell do you know? Maybe. Or who knows what it is, but I don't know. What's the acronym again? Say it again. What is it?
UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena.
I kind of like it. Do you like it? Or do you like UFO better?
I can take or leave both of them. I think I lean more towards UFO because when I break down the words, UFO has object in there. It implies that there is something physical there. And this is where we kind of go to the idea of maybe some of these things are interdimensional or spiritual, because when you look at UAP, it's not necessarily an object or a physical object.
Well, exactly.
It's a
phenomenon. Not committing that there's actually even something there. It's just a phenomenon. Yeah, it's a thing that happened, and it's not committing to the fact that there was something physical there. Yeah, I get that. I kind of like the name, I got to say. I kind of like that. That's a new acronym. And it opens the door for a lot more possibilities. It doesn't exclude anything that would have normally been associated with UFO, other than they were such a great band. And that's just a side note.
They're on their retirement tour.
I know. I was a big UFO fan. UFO was so cool. I used to think Michael Schenker was like just the god of guitar, And then I did an album with him. I hung out with him for every day for 6 months, every day, 10 hours a day.
The Contraband album was fantastic.
Exactly.
But that's kind of, and I don't want to go down any road you don't want to go down, but that's kind of a situation there where, we're talking about the narrative and image and marketing and things like that. It was a great band on paper, on CD.
It was awful. It was just on paper. That is a can of worms, Everett. I'll tell you that. That whole thing is a can of worms. I don't even know if you want to get into that. Maybe we'll save it for the final hour if you really want to talk about it. But we're on to something. I took us completely off of course from UFO thing, and let's just go back to that.
Yeah, and that happens quite often.
We can always visit
Sunday.
We can visit. We can revisit unless you want to. Unless you want to go there, we can go there. I don't care.
Let's finish up with the UFO versus UAP, and we'll hit Contraband there at the end.
Okay, well, whatever. Let's see where we go. It doesn't matter. No agenda.
It's just you and I talking on the phone.
That's right. Okay, so where were we?
We were kind of talking about the UAP sort of indicating maybe not so much a physical object kind of concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah, I think I'm there on that. I think I cannot discount the possibility of a spiritual entity of some sort. I can't. Any more than I can. Again, going back to that stupid flat Earth analogy, but it's the same thing. I can't. How? What am I basing my argument on? I can't even make an argument either way. It's a hunch. It's a feeling I have. I think that there's a lot. I think there's an evil, satanic element that runs through this whole world like a thread. I believe that.
Do you think
it runs through the government? It runs through the government in all tentacles of the government. It runs through the entertainment business, through all through it. And I think that it's a definite component to be reckoned with. I just believe that. That's my experience. Different things have happened. I've observed different things, and that feels most right to me. That makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense.
I can understand that. Do you think, and I want to swing back around a little bit to the idea of a deep state or a secret government kind of thing with the UAP thing. Do you think that this could be a way for them to kind of make us not uncomfortable, but we're so used to a particular terminology, they switch it up on us as a way to kind of expose us to something new. When you look at some of the videos that they have, when you look at some of the videos, the Tic Tac Go Fast, the gimbal, those videos show something that maybe it's alien, maybe it's terrestrial technology from another country, maybe it's something we don't entirely understand. They're not overly clear or being, I don't want to say honest, they're not being definitive about it either. So could it just be a way?
No, they're not.
Yeah. Could it just be a way to kind of throw a wrench in the narrative?
Control thought.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Of course it is. It would be. I think it would be a well-planned con, such as any of this would be a great thing to change the name of. A lot of things would be. If you just give different names to a lot of things, you could really change the connotations and make people think differently about certain things. When I was small, somebody that was disabled was a cripple. Oh, they're crippled. If I said crippled today, I'd be crucified. And so that word is off the table. Handicap, that's really off the table. Really, physically impaired. Well, okay, that's a little bit better. We have all these words, and they start to forbid us to use certain phrases and certain words, and it's part of their whole control. If you ever saw somebody get hypnotized before, like, one-on-one by a good hypnotist, you'll find that when the hypnotist is talking to the subject, that they will urge that the subject into a way of thinking by acknowledging them for a certain action and telling them it was good. That's good. So I want you to close your eyes. Good. That's good. Now I want you to just put your head up and close your eyes very, very slowly. Yeah, just like that, right there. Now the subject kind of gets lulled into thinking in a certain fashion. You build up these suggestions stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and you're controlling the person without really even knowing. So now here we are with a new word, and why we have a new word, who knows why, but there's definitely a mind control going on. Here's the narrative. This is what I want you to think about. This is, by the way, don't use that word anymore. It's not PC. People will think you're crazy. You're going to be a conspiracy theorist. I mean, think about that alone. A conspiracy theorist. They have weaponized and demonized the word conspiracy. A conspiracy exists. They're not inherently bad just because it's a conspiracy. But they've trained everybody. You can't even say, "Oh, he's a conspiracy theory nut." You're a bad person now. Now they've made you bad and they dehumaned you. Bad person.
We've got about a minute before we go to break. Do you think that the idea of demonizing the word conspiracy is a way to kind of manipulate people's thinking?
Of course. That's what I was just trying to say in many more words. But yeah, it's true. It's just a way it's manipulating our thoughts. I mean, we can't say anything. Gosh, the other day I had a friend of mine who's a teacher, and they had it's a lady friend of mine, and the first day of school she had to stand up and say her name and that my pronouns are she and her. Your pronouns, and she had to disclose this kind of request. It's like ridiculous, but Richard, that's how we've become.
Richard, with that, we're gonna hop out here and take a quick break. We will be right back on Spaced Out Sunday.
All right.
Hey, space travelers! This is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities,
I haven't experienced that, and I will have to be very cautious on this. Because
hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Heading to Vancouver and looking for some great nightlife? The Moose Vancouver is the place to be. Catch a game on one of the big screens, or just come rock out to your favorite 80s and 90s hair bands. Great food starting at $6.95. The Moose Vancouver is open until 2 a.m. nightly. It's easy to find near the corner of Nelson and Granville. The Moose Vancouver is the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com. Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Sundays. I'm your host, Everett Thiemer. Thank you for sticking around with us. Don't forget, if you've missed any part of the show, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do us the favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping in the vault where you can pick up a Team Stump hat. Have you noticed I'm pushing Team Stump? Remember, I am the leader of Team Stump, and we're going to build this team. You can also join the Space Travelers Club for $5 a month. Get involved in some of the forums, the chats, and so much more. Now, we're talking to Richard Black tonight, the lead vocalist of Shark Island, and well, that's all I can say at this point now, because I don't give out shameless plugs like you can find his CD Bloodline at at sharkislandmusic.com. There's all kinds of places you can find some information on them, keep track of them, but I don't do that anymore. Richard, right before the break, we were talking about the word conspiracy and how you used the term, how it's been weaponized, and I think that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, it is. It's weaponized. So when somebody says, they've designed it so that when someone mentions a conspiracy of some sort, whatever it is, but if it's a conspiracy, it's automatically discounted, and you are ostracized from even believing it. And that's how they control you. So that's a form of censorship. And clearly, it's obvious. You can't say conspiracy theory without sounding, at least to some people, like you're a kook, right? But that's on purpose. That is done on purpose, and it happens over and over again. Look at all the words that are just kind of changed, and it's PC censorship.
Do you think the government is using that to our advantage, or do you think anybody is using that to their advantage?
No. It's always to their advantage. They don't do anything for us. Be really clear on that. They don't do anything for us. It's always for them.
Because
it's always to aggrandize them. Always.
A topic can be made so taboo to talk about just by throwing the idea that it's a conspiracy in there. I mean, and that goes beyond the UFO or the topics that we talk about here. Sometimes it can go to almost anything, whether you look at
almost anything. You're right. Anything. And and this is just one example. This is all. Yeah, it's exactly. And this is just one small example of it. And that you have to think a certain way, but that's how society collapses. That's what's happening to us here. I mean, you really have to think about it. Most people just have no idea of the mess we're in.
Who's leading the collapse of the society?
Well, we go back to this deep state notion, whoever they are, but it certainly is somebody that would benefit from it. You would benefit from having everybody, subservient to you. They want to make, it's always they want to improve their own selves, again, the old organization and whoever they are. It's always, you cannot depend on the government for anything. You can't assume anything. You can't assume that they're working in your best interest. Okay, there appears to be exceptions to the rule here and there when you see, there might be some virtuous people that think they're going to change the world or something, but there are few of them. There's only few. The rest of them are just, that's how they operate. That's how they make their money by making people work for them, taking their money. They don't work themselves. The people work, and they figure out schemy ways to get the money from them. That's how they do it. That's how you make money if you're in the government or in the deep state or whatever you want to call them. But that's how you make your loot. You think of ways to get the money. You make up things like climate change. You make something up out of whole cloth. And if I say something against climate change, that's another word. If you're not going on with it and saying, yeah, climate change is bad. Oh, gee, but what do you like? What do you like? Dirty air? Yeah. Then you're demonized again. It's another word. It's just like conspiracy. You can't even have an opinion on it. If I did have an opinion that it wasn't true, I'm a bad person.
Is this, let's call it a control of the narrative? Is it controlled by the government? Are they working hand in hand with the media? I mean, how's it being done?
Well, the media is part of their tool. one of their tools, because that's the mouthpiece, and that's the people that set forth the narrative that they create. They give them the marching orders, and the media reports it, and people believe it. And then the other soldiers, would be like the entertainment industry. It would be also their kind of like that's another wing of their assault. So they use all this thing, and they create a big kind of a social value system, and they just use these as tools. There's no journalism, Everett. I mean, have you noticed? There's no more journalism. There's just hit piece after hit piece after lies after lies. You just see lies constantly.
We talk.
You can't believe anything that you see in the media. Anything.
Do you think, if you can't believe anything, where do you think people can? Where can people find reliable news? And I ask this because we're going to talk about the idea of the media spinning these stories and controlling things. But is it too late for people to find reliable news sources?
No, I don't think so, because I don't think that you have any power to change it anyway. I think you have to go into yourself, and you have to just collect yourself as a person and develop who you are. It doesn't really matter what happens. There's nothing you can do about it. I mean, you can slow things down, what are you going to do? And there's not going to be you're going to take up arms and go into a hot revolution and try to change this. You can't. And what does it matter? I don't know. I don't know who to trust. So I have to kind of make my world smaller, with a select people around me, my people that I consider a friend and stuff, and try to exist like that. It doesn't sound glamorous, I know, but I think what's going to happen? What's going to happen here?
Well, you and I had talked off the air about 50 years ago, 25 years ago, if somebody had a piece of information, whether it be a news article or a book that they wrote, there were checks and balances in place. If you wrote a book, you had to sell it to a publisher. They had people that would check the facts, and then only then would that book be published. Just like with back in the day, if you were a newspaper reporter, you wrote the story, it went to an editor, and only after it was approved was it published. Now, and we talked about this on the phone the other day, I can literally spend $20, go set up a website, and start cranking things out, whether they're true or not. And there are people out there that are going to buy it just because they like the name of my website, or they like something else that I've posted. Doesn't matter about whether it's true or not.
That's right. There isn't a accountability. There certainly isn't anymore. Everything's just kind of about self. I think again I need to kind of resort to like a spiritual component to living. I've heard it say that the character is best discovered when no one else is looking. And what do you do when no one's looking?
Right.
How do you act? How are you as a person? But what drives that accountability? Is it driven by a God? But if you don't have God, if you can somehow take God out of the equation, then you can do anything. You'll believe anything. You do anything. I know I would. I mean, I'm smart enough that I'm sure I could plan very handy bank robbery and not get caught. Why don't I do it? Well, it's not because of the human laws. I don't think it's a good thing to do for spiritually, just because I believe there's a God, and I believe that my consequences are beyond the immediate moment. So, but I think what's happening in the world is if you can remove God from the equation, now anything is possible. You can lie about anything, you can do about anything, you can steal anything, you can just, it doesn't really matter. It changes the whole tapestry of society. I think that's a lot of what's happened here.
Talking about God and gods, what about the digital gods in media? The Facebooks, the Twitters. These are. It took us a while to get here.
Maybe those are the demons too. Yeah, we don't know. I don't know. It's all fake. We're just talking about how fake it is. I mean, you see somebody, you could stumble across somebody that looks a certain way, but it could be photoshopped, or they could be lying, or they could have, put themselves in front of Sistine Chapel and, hey, I'm here having a good time. Everything's just a lie. Everything's made up.
Well, everybody's living their best life on Facebook. And
that's right.
And
I don't even have a Facebook. How about that?
I have one.
I managed to not have one.
I managed for the longest time, and then I succumbed. I was captured. But when you look at these different social media outlets, and not just not just Facebook or Twitter, but you look at YouTube. I mean, people seem to forget that if they quote unquote publish something on those sites can take it down only because they don't want it there. And we've seen this sort of censorship quite a bit lately on different topics.
You're absolutely right. And who owns most of the big social sites? I mean, think about it. It all comes back to Google now, doesn't it? You just pump to follow the money, and it all ends up coming back to Google in some form or another now, doesn't it? So, and they have they control society. They tell everybody what to think exactly. I did a really weird experiment. This was sideline, but it kind of fits. And the subject matter is irrelevant, but it happens to be a good example. And that is this. Go on your search engine and look up gay couples. I know it's just, this might sound like it's going so way, but now look at your results. You'll have nothing but gay couples. You'll have interracial gay couples. You'll have, lesbians. You'll have homosexual men. They'll all be there. But now do the same thing and say, look up straight couples. Now what's going to come up? Well, you'll get some straight couples, but you'll also get some gays in there as well. So they're purposely putting forth a particular narrative. Again, it doesn't have anything to do with gay or straight. That's not the point. But the point is that if you're going to search something and you're going to use Google to do some kind of a verifying, you cannot trust it. Because if they can't be honest about the example I just mentioned, then how can they be honest about anything? Well, they blew their cover because they're doing it on purpose. They're allowing certain images to be seen by certain searches, and they're mixing it up, corrupting it on the other end. So they're not to be trusted. But that's the truth.
Aren't they also letting the general public corrupt itself just by picking and choosing the narratives or the articles or what they want to leave on their sites? I mean, I'll use YouTube for an example because they quite famously pulled down a whole bunch of different media outlets on YouTube.
Kidding.
But they also pulled down some that were rather innocuous, whether it was about some natural health concepts, it was some other things where we can argue whether or not some of the big ones that they pulled were appropriate, and certainly by their, terms of service, they have the right to do it. But they also pulled these ones that maybe didn't deserve to be pulled.
Maybe just to make them appear fair.
Maybe.
They didn't have to disclose the reason. But they just had to pull it down, because if they would only pull down the obvious ones, you'd be able to much easier put your finger on it and say, what's going on here? How can you pull this down here? Oh, we pulled this down too. This is all, this is our right to do whatever we want. Yeah, but there's, they don't do anything for no reason. They got a very, very good crafted reason for everything they do. And again, it's control. It's obvious. Anybody can look at it. Think about it for the next week, whoever's pondering, and just consider it. Just consider it and look at it and go, wow, you'll see it'll be obvious. It'll become self-evident before you know it. You just go, wow. It's very true.
I'm starting to think that maybe I'm not going to get a Google Home Nest or whatever that thing is.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's another thing. It's crazy. People, oh, yeah, I just got one of those Alexa things in my house. I go, really? You did? And they go, yeah. I go, how aren't you worried about the listening to? Oh, no, I just turned it off. I go, oh, you turn it off? Really? Just like you turn off Siri on your phone? And we're talking right now. I'm talking on a cell phone right now. Every single word is going into an algorithm, for sure. Somewhere. There's no one listening to it, but they just set it. They set the parameters. Okay, we don't like this word. This word pops up, and he says it too much this week. Well, we're gonna do something. We're gonna mess with them. You never know. You never know what the situation is going to be. And Snowden told us this, and it's true. You think your phone is always listening. Always. If you turn it off, it doesn't stop listening. It just gagged. It just doesn't respond. It's still listening. Never had conversations with your friends with a phone around.
Well, that brings up something, with these algorithms that certainly seem to always be listening to us. And, I'm not the biggest conspiracy theorist in the world, but there's something to this. My wife and I had decided we were going to talk about or get some new appliances. Now, this was a spur-of-the-moment thing, the conversation about it. Neither one of us had searched online looking for appliances or anything like that, but we had the conversation that maybe we should start thinking about getting some new appliances or upgrading the kitchen a little bit. And her phone was upstairs. My phone was on the island in the kitchen. Guess what started coming across my Facebook pages?
Oh, my God, how creepy.
I
totally believe it.
I was getting home improvement store advertisements. I was getting brand.
I knew you're going to say that. I knew it. Yes, I totally see. That's super creepy, isn't it?
It is.
That's happening. That's happening, man. It's happening. It for sure is happening.
And that was something that, I do a lot of work on the internet, but I don't search things like that. In fact, I wasn't a real big fan of the idea of going out and spending all that money, so I hadn't done anything online about it.
Yeah.
All we did
They'll tell you, that was just a coincidence. Yeah. That's just a coincidence, Everett.
and you know what? I could buy the idea that it's a coincidence if maybe one Home Depot or Lowe's ad showed up on my feed. But over the course of about 4 days, there were multiple occasions every day where, this brand of appliance is on sale at this store and this is on sale. And when I say brand of appliance, I don't mean like Kohl's is having a special on food processors. I mean, Sub-Zero ranges are on sale at this store right now. So it kind of it opened my eyes a little bit. I mean, we've always made the jokes and said the things, but that was
I believe it. I believe it wholeheartedly. Yeah. I believe it completely.
When you talk amongst people, everybody seems to have that one experience or two experiences where they were talking with a friend about this brand of potato chips or this restaurant, and all of a sudden the next day, here's potato chip ads on their Facebook page, or here's where to dine out in your area ads on their feed. So the idea of people thinking that they're not listening, God, I want to think they're not listening, but
it's naive. That's naive.
It's hard to deny that they're not.
Yeah. Oh, they are. It is, and that means that's where the money comes from. This is like targeted marketing. You can just like pretty much listen to somebody talk about something and then just go, okay, here it is. We have this person that's interested in some appliances.
But it's
not. This is a list of all. This is actually what it does is that this is a list of everybody that's talked about appliances in the last week. There's 250 or 2,500 of them. We'll sell you this list for your banners at a certain amount of money. And it's very dependable, kind of a, targeted marketing because someone's actually talking about it. It's brilliant.
Isn't it a little bit beyond?
Brilliant.
Isn't it a little bit beyond targeted marketing when they're literally sitting in your pocket just listening? I mean, it's almost invasive.
Well,
marketing.
It is invasive marketing, but that's kind of where our freedoms have gone now, isn't it? Freedom is essentially the beginning of freedom is privacy. Once you lose your privacy, you start to lose your freedom. They go hand in hand. And that's where that evasiveness comes from. That's where that feeling of being just like it just got violated. It's got violated right now because, you having a private conversation about an appliance and then somebody's like all of a sudden listens in and then tries to sell you an appliance. That's like a violation. But it's true. It's part of our freedom package. Part of it.
Richard, I'm going to get you to hold on. We're going to step out for the top of the hour break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about privacy a little bit, and then we're going to get into some of the fun stuff about music, and maybe we'll talk about UFO a little bit.
Oh yeah, okay. Sounds good.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott, and I'm bringing you the Woo every Monday through Friday on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going all out to bring you the strangest, oddest stories and subjects I could find for your entertainment. Why? Because when we hit peak Woo, I know I've done my job. So come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, and together, my friends, we own the night.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
John Resig here, founder of Chive Charities. And just like you, we have a penchant for the uncommon, the overlooked, and the off-the-cuff. Chive Charities operates a bit differently than most organizations. We listen to our recipients to find out exactly what they need, and then we give it to them. We provide people with rare medical conditions, veterans, and first responders with grant items that will make a direct impact on that person's life. We don't just forget about our recipients when the van or the wheelchair has been delivered, though. Our recipients are part of our Chive Charities family for life. By becoming a donor with us, you could be a part of that family too. And our listeners of Spaced Out Radio know that thinking differently can be a very good thing. To get to know some of our recipients and to support Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and start making a real difference today.
If you're heading to Vancouver, make sure you stop by the official bar of Spaced Out Radio, the Moose Vancouver. It's the place to party in YVR. At the corner of Nelson and Granville, the Moose Vancouver is always up to speed with a kitchen staff that serves great food. All food on the menu, $6.95 to $8.95. There's a reason the Moose Vancouver is recognized as one of the hottest spots on the West Coast. Get your horns up for the Moose Vancouver.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thaw. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with me, Little Richie G, as I take over the airwaves on Spaced Out Saturdays. This is Rich Giordano, and I'm going to bring you the most fun on the radio you can have with your clothes on. We're going to get to the heart of the subjects, from UFOs to what's going on in the paranormal and everything in between. So come join me at spacedoutradio.com, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, for the fastest 3 hours of your week.
My hands can feel good. I'm free. I'm remembering how I am. My hands can feel again. Hopefully. I'm remembering how I am.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Sunday. I'm your host, at least for now, Everett Thiemer. Thank you for being with us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates. KDNF, AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas. KDUN, AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. KZFX, 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. WQEE, 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia. And UPRN, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. For our digital listeners, we are on Kingdom of Nye Radio and Revolution Radio. And don't forget, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do us the favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping in the Spaced Out Radio vault, and reading up on the SOR Newswire, along with so much more. Before the break, we were continuing on with Shark Island's lead vocalist, Richard Black. Again, go find their stuff. I'm not going to promote them anymore because you know.
Oh, come on! I'm going to give you 1 hour to stop that.
Go over to sharkislandmusic.com and check them out, and be sure to go to their website or YouTube and check out the video for Policy of Truth. It's fantastic. Before the break, we were talking about the big brothers of business and communication, and one of the things that we just started to hint on, Richard, is the idea of privacy. We were talking about these ads that pop up based on what somebody may or may not say, and how it seems like whether they deny it or not, something's always listening. And you had mentioned a great point about the idea that privacy is probably one of the most valuable things that we're willing to give up so freely.
It is. Privacy and freedom are intertwined with each other. The less privacy you have, the less freedom you have. And you rarely hear those two words together, but if you really think about it, you could see that it is true. And if you can just remove the privacy, you have managed to enslave the people.
And
it's simple. Yeah.
And people are giving this up so willingly. It's almost like, here, take my privacy.
Well, heck, they're in some cases they're paying a company to take their privacy in the form of DNA. Think about it. Look at these Ancestry.com. I don't know how much it costs, but you not only do you give them a sample of your DNA, you pay them. My goodness, what insanity! And I'm sorry that a lot of people probably listening here have probably done it. And I'm not trying to put you down or not. It's just like when you think about it, what you gave up or what you get back it's just you never get it back. It's over. Once you give away any of your freedom or any of your privacy, you never get it back. Never. Sad.
Now, how long until the government gets its hands on that DNA profile?
Well, they did already once. Look, they're doing it already. You heard of the what's the golden? We had in California here. We had a serial killer case. I think it was called the Golden State Killer or something like that. Some kind of a corny name, right? And he killed a lot of people. Broke into houses midnight, assaulted, raped, the whole thing. Brutal for many years, and it was all over the California. And the only thing that they found that had in common that they all seemed to be close to the Interstate 5 freeway in California, which is one of the big, long interstates that runs almost the entire length of the state. So he would go on this highway and they, stake out a place and kill. Okay, so anyway, the guy quit doing it, right? And the case went completely cold for many years, decades. They were nowhere until I think it was last year. I might have some of the details, muddied, but the gist is there, and you'll get my point here in a second. But they they reopened the case. There was somebody still on it. It was just brutal. And they found out through some residual DNA samples that were left at the scene. They couldn't match it to anybody, but they were able to match it to a relative of the killer. The relative. So they knew that the killer was related to this one person.
And this was somebody who had sent in their DNA.
Yes. Someone was sent in their DNA. So they were able to access that, and all of a sudden, their list of suspects went from, how many ever millions of people there are in California down to a family of maybe, 6 or 10 people. So they knew the killer is one of these people. And they were able to find that through somebody's innocent turn-in of DNA because they wanted to find out if they were part Italian or whatever. You know what I mean? Who cares? And so look at that. Look at that, how awful that is. I mean, I'm glad they caught him. I'm not trying to condone a serial killer. It's already great they call him. But you can just see the danger. And that's unexpected consequences, and you would never even imagine that. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of that. But maybe somebody's been thinking about it all along. Maybe somebody's been thinking about it all along, and that was part of their plan. I didn't. I mean, I don't concern myself with that type of thing, but maybe that was the plan all along. Hey, let's just get a big database. I know right now I haven't done it, but I know my sister has. My sister sent in her DNA. I'm like, are you crazy? So I mean, I don't know what the circumstances could be. I'm not a serial killer, of course. I would say that, but my sister's DNA is in the system, and they could probably make a connection between me and her if they had mine. But again, you see the implications of it. And, there's deep implications of it.
Well, you're right. On one hand, it's great that a serial killer was found. But on the other hand, what does that do to the psyche or the psychology of someone who's just going about their life, maybe wants to learn a little bit more about their history, and all of a sudden being contacted saying, oh, you have a serial killer in your family. You want to help us with that?
Yeah, exactly. It's weird. It's a strange kind of phenomenon. I mean, you would never have. I mean, that's a new question that relatively new question that can even be asked today. It's unbelievable. But look what it does to the rest of society as far as freedoms go. I don't know.
It seems
it's a slippery slope.
It is, and it brings up a lot of questions of ethics and morality. And who would have thought that our digital lives would be more valuable to somebody than our actual lives at this point?
Well, at this point, and they can be tied together as well to make it twice as bad. But yeah, you get. It's another aspect of you. Your digital self is indeed an aspect of you. Whether or not it's accurate or truthful, we don't know. In some cases it is. In some cases it's absolutely not. But yeah, there is a relationship now, isn't there, between the two? And look at that profile that you get all of a sudden. Man, you get a heck of a profile. You know that you're in the market for some appliances, and you know that you have brown hair, and that you're related to these people, and these are the interests. Oh God, it's just the possibilities are endless. I mean, my advice to anybody is just hang on. Every tooth and nail, hang on to your privacy. Tooth and nail. Don't give away an inch of it. None of it, ever. You'll never get it back. Get it back.
That's tough to do, though.
Yeah, it is.
If we go on the idea that our cell phones are listening to us, and there have been talks about how cameras in smart TVs are capable of monitoring the room. That's even more invasive than listening to me on my cell phone while it's sitting on the nightstand.
Yeah.
Because trust me, you don't want to turn the camera on when I'm changing clothes in the morning, and that's what's going to happen.
Right. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. And but it's like you said, it's getting harder and harder to do. I mean, I can't go anywhere without my little device, my little cell phone. I'm on it way too much. Way too much. I'm on it constantly. I think I turned my gives it a report once in a while how much time you spent. You averaged. I think one time I had like 6 hours on the phone. Like 6 hours. It didn't even seem possible that I was actually on it.
Was
6
that
hours
in one
a
day?
day? In a day. I thought it was like absurd. I go, something's going to be wrong with this. Is this true? And I kind of observed how I am, and I'm like, I'm on it like anybody else. You check it. I buy some on eBay. Go back to my eBay and see if they ship the thing out. Yeah, when's it going to come? Where is it now? Oh, it's in Baltimore. Okay, all right. Okay, well, I can't wait for that to come here. Oh, let me check my Instagram. Oh, look at that. Oh, nothing's changed. Okay, you know what I mean? Or let me check the weather. Okay, let's look at the weather. Okay, let me look at YouTube and see if I can find a good debate. I'm always on it. I wish I could just like cut it. I thought of actually even getting like, I should just get a flip phone, right? So that way, if I need to make a phone call because my car broke down, or my wife needs me to bring something, she can call and say, hey, don't forget the avocados, But the rest of it is just bull. You don't need it.
Yeah,
but they got us hooked. They got us hooked, man.
It seems as though people spend a lot more time on their phone doing things rather than talking, and it seems like they're, and we mentioned this before, they're just, without realizing it, willingly handing over their privacy without even being cautious about it.
No. Again, it was just like the very gently fed to us, spoon-fed like a little baby, bottle-fed over the years. They just fed us little by little, and we just took it. We just agreed to it, and we think nothing of it.
Do you think that's the master plan? Spoon-feed us these little nuggets and get us accustomed?
That's how they do it. That's how they do it. It's a complete little thing. I thought of one big one that I was kind of morbidly curious about. I was looking at the presidential candidates. I don't want to talk about politics necessarily, but this is just it kind of speaks to this what we're talking about. I was looking at all these candidates and going, are these guys serious? You know what I mean? You got a geriatric loony Bolshevik. You really going to run for president with that attitude and those promises? Are you serious? And every single one is just like got something wrong with it. One guy's a pedophile, or one guy's just completely off. Something's a problem with all of them. And I thought I'd go, and I one day I said, I don't think that party is even serious themselves about these candidates. But what I came up with, I said, they want to put forth these ideas and notions and promises that are so crazy, so beyond the pale, that at the last minute, we're not going to see their presidential candidate till like 6 months before, and they will end up appearing like a centrist. Because they got us thinking so far in one direction that they could come back like 50%, still be insane, but appear as a centrist. You follow me?
I understand that.
Yeah. I don't have to say any names, but you can see the manipulation there because it's absurd. The stuff they're saying is absurd. One guy's all, no, we're going to come take all your guns. Really? You want? Oh, really? I mean, who's going to put up with that? I mean, gosh, who is somebody in Oklahoma going to put up with that? Anywhere. I won't put up with it here. But Mid-America, they're going the heck are going to take my guns, But it's impossible. But why would he say something like that? Why would he say it? Because the real candidate would come and say, well, we're not going to take your guns. Of course not. All we need you to do is we need to have a photographic evidence of gun and a report that you own this gun so that we can make a database so we know that, okay, Everett owns this revolver here and here's a photo and here's the number and we're going to have it on record and it's going to be part of the big database. And that seems a lot more reasonable than we're going to come take your guns. But if without the we're going to take your guns, the other thing is unacceptable as well. But if you think, but it's just not as bad, that's not as bad. That's not nearly as bad. So that's how they kind of do things. It's like a manipulation. It's a constant exposure to ideas and narratives, and just to get you thinking and obeying a certain way. That's why I see it quite obviously. I walk around and it's very clear to me what's happening. It's very obvious to me. I don't have to ponder about it much. You can see it anywhere you go. They'll show up in one form or another. It'll just show up, and you go, "Oh wow, that's creepy."
Do you think there's a lot of gaslighting involved to create fear to get us to accept a particular idea? Maybe what we see as a less offensive or dangerous idea.
Well, that is. That's essentially the gaslighting. You just to make you go crazy, make you think. At least they make you think that everybody's thinking a certain way. But when you really ask them, in private, hey, you think this is okay? Well, not really. But I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to be ostracized or called a name, or I don't want to be called a bigot. I don't want to appear homophobic or anything, so I'm not going to say anything. What the hell am I going to say? I mean, these are the things that go up in private between friends, but clearly there's gaslighting. You can't say certain things. I can't say certain things. And I'm not allowed to say certain things. I'm not allowed to say the N-word. Neither are you. We're just not allowed to say it. It's just off limits. Why? It's just a word. We can't. But like me, I was born in Huntington Park, like Compton. Grief. Why can't I say it? Why can't I say it?
Well, because
I've been around the blacks most of my life.
They have told us it's offensive. I mean,
they told, right. You're exactly right. They told us it's offensive. Yes.
And it's not just the N-word. There are so many, and we'll skirt around them carefully because we don't want to offend the audience. But
of course,
there are, and that was meant to be a joke. I mean, we talk about a lot of different topics, but there are things that basically the only thing I can say is we've been told. I don't know where it came from, but it's been ongoing for a long time where these topics have been made unacceptable to talk about. And I'm waiting for the point in time where we get to the next one, where something so mundane or innocuous becomes unacceptable to talk about. I don't know what it is.
Anyway, it all revolves around control again and censorship. Censorship is the foundation of tyranny.
Very true.
Isn't it? Yes. So is it or is it not censorship that I cannot say a certain word? I am forbidden. That's censorship.
Is the censorship...
Okay, now we're going to go... Well, some people say, oh, wait, well, free speech can't exist. You can't go into a movie theater and yell fire. Right? You can't do that. Of course you can't do that. Well, that's inciting a riot, so that's kind of covered by a different law. But we've gotten to a point in society that you can't even warn the people that the theater really is on fire.
Is the free sheet... Is the free speech different, or I'm sorry, the censorship different when it's instigated by the government versus some of these social media platforms where people put their stuff up and then they complain that it's been pulled down because it doesn't meet community standards or terms of service. And if we're to believe some of the stuff we see on the internet, at times it seems like they're just picking random things to pull down. I've seen offensive posts that have been left up and inoffensive posts that have been allegedly pulled down because they didn't meet terms of service.
Well, terms of service is just the reason. I would venture to assume at least there's some kind of connection between government, when we use that word, and the internet, Google. I think it's part of it. I mean, what we see as the government, okay, is different than the term we used later on. The deep state or the elite or whoever these people are. The government itself. I mean, gosh, whether the Santa Barbara sheriffs, we're not talking about them, are we? No, I don't think so. But are they told what to do and what they cannot do? Yeah, probably at a certain level from higher up. Yeah. What about our representatives? Do they? These are the figureheads that are in the thing. But what about the people that are really pulling the strings beyond behind the scenes? That's what Crazy Eights is about. That song. It's about the people behind the scenes.
It's
the people pulling the strings. We don't know who they are. We don't know. I'm not sure what that is.
And I
don't know.
That's probably the most frightening thought. We don't know who they are.
Yeah. No, we don't know. We don't know who they are, or how deep it runs. No, we don't know. We don't know how far they got or what they have on us so far, or what their plans are, or what. But there's fewer and fewer people every year that can really attest to it. Fewer and fewer people that were around to be able to see what this country was, at least before this kind of cold revolution that we went through.
Hey, Richard,
we kind of went through
I'm going to get you to hold on. We're going to step out for our final break of the night. This has been a fast show. It's been fantastic. When we come back, when we come back, we're going to have a little bit of fun with some music, talking about music, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the recording process of the new album. I won't mention its name because we're not promoting it anymore. But
wait! I was just kidding. I was just kidding.
We'll be right back on Spaced Out Sunday.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
Hey Spaced Out Radio fans, it's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. We live in a world of mystery and uncertainty, which you guys know better than anyone. Sometimes you just need to be brought back down to earth for a while. One of the best ways to stay grounded is to help out with your fellow earthlings, and there's no more rewarding way to do that than to give through Chive Charities. Unlike many organizations, we don't necessarily aim to save the world, cure disease, or change the course of history. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. Chive Charities is nothing without our donors. an amazing group of underdogs helping underdogs. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Move over, brother, and let me own Saturday night.
This is Rich Giordano, and I'm inviting you to tune on in to Spaced Out Saturdays starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern, where I'm going to bust open the lids on everything paranormal. Why? Because we want answers, and I'm the guy who's going to deliver those answers to you. Join the chat rooms, and we'll see you this Saturday. Just be there. No, really.
Are you addicted to the woo? Good. Me too. This is Dave Scott, and you can woo it up with me every Monday through Friday, starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, for 3 hours of great entertainment in the subjects you love. UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, intuition. Yes, we hit it all 5 days a week. Look for us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, my friends, we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for some great nightlife? The Moose Vancouver is the place to be. Catch a game on one of the big screens, or just come rock out to your favorite 80s and 90s hair bands. Great food starting at $6.95. The Moose Vancouver is open until 2 a.m. nightly. It's easy to find near the corner of Nelson and Granville. The Moose Vancouver is the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Welcome back to Spaced Out Sundays. I'm your host, Everett Thiemer. Thanks for sticking around with us. Don't forget, if you've missed any part of the show, you can check out our archives for free at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. Just do us the favor and hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. I haven't even mentioned the plethora game to Richard yet. Maybe we'll get into that. We have a plethora of features for you there, including rocking out to some Bumblefoot, shopping in the vault, catching up on the Newswire, joining the Space Travelers Club, and so much more. Now, before the break, we were talking some pretty heavy stuff, but I kind of want to lighten this up, Richard, and talk about music a little bit and the recording process for the album, and maybe we'll talk about the band UFO a little bit because they're going out on their final tour. But one of the things I wanted to ask you is, you recorded this in a 432 hertz tuning.
Yes.
Did you?
Yes, we did.
Now, for the people that aren't familiar with that, that's kind of considered, it's part of the sacred geometry. It's almost one of the original tunings, and it's considered more pleasurable to listen to music in that tuning. Did you do this for that reason, or did you do it to kind of connect with some of the positive ideas and aspects that are thought to be brought around by the 432 tuning?
Yeah, I think probably a little of both, but mostly the latter. I was searching around on YouTube or something, and I stumbled across this concept about this tuning. And they were doing these various experiments, and I did some research and learned that I think it was in 1936 or something, they decided to make standardize all the tuning, in the world, and they settled on 440 hertz, the vibration, 440 hertz, and everybody kind of changed their tuning to that. But after people were doing some experiments on what effect these different vibrations had on organic matter, namely like water, even something as basic as water, they would introduce 440 tuning to water, and the water would vibrate and turn into patterns much like snowflakes. Everything was very orderly and geometrically pleasing. And then when they introduced 440 to the same body of water, then all it did was just make kind of a chaos of splashing. It didn't have any kind of pattern at all. So I thought, it got me thinking. I thought, well, if we are 70 or 80% water, and then I thought, well, it must have some effect on a person. I mean, if everything is vibration, Tesla tells us that everything is about vibration. And I thought, well, you know what? Let's see if that changes kind of the mood or the attitude towards the music. And then I started comparing certain music pieces that were played in 440 versus 432, and I think I was really felt that somehow the 432 was a little bit easier to listen to. It was just a little bit more. It just seemed to sink in a little bit more. It didn't feel as stressful somehow. And I don't think it was psychosomatic. I don't think it was. I really believe that it felt different. It sonically sounded different. I'm around music a lot. I've been, 4 decades, so I have a listening that's more developed than a casual listener. So I said, well, gosh, I'm going to do this whole album in 442, and trying to get all the various musicians that had to play to detune everything to this tuning. Everybody thought I was kind of nuts. But I did it. Pulled it off, and the whole album is recorded for 432. And this is something that, the listeners would have to research if it's certainly interesting. And I don't know. I don't know if it's going to make any difference or not, but I'd like to think it will.
I think it will. I buy into that 432 tuning a little bit. There's something a little bit different about the music.
Something about it, yeah. Something about it.
I can't put my finger on it, but it's different. It's better.
That's right.
We were talking at the breaks off and on here about the music industry and how it's changed. And right now there are a lot of bands kind of out on their final tours. We talked about UFO, but Deep Purple is doing their retirement tour. There's some other ones that are stepping away, maybe after this touring cycle. You've been in the industry for 40 years. How has it changed? And how has it changed in those decades? Because it's so different now than it was 25 years ago.
I think the most obvious way that changed, the one thing that you could link all the changes to is the music becoming digital. As soon as music got digitized, it changed everything.
Do you mean the advent of CDs, or do you mean the digital revolution of the internet?
Well, both, but it started with the CD. I mean, if you're old enough to remember, we were just talking about, we moved and I stumbled across all my old LPs, which were, everybody must know what LPs are. It's a regular black vinyl record. That's all analog. That's all analog printed music on a platter, and it has a shelf life, and it can be played a finite amount of times, and you got to get a new album. So what they did was that once they digitized it, they were able to put it on a CD. You can make endless copies of the CD, and everyone is exactly the same as the other. If you did that with an album, your first copy would be a little worse. Your next copy would be a little worse. The quality would decline because it's analog. But in digital format, it doesn't decline. So basically, you could buy one album and then make copies for all your friends, CDs, early times. And then that grew into where we are today, which is everything's just kind of digitized and available on some kind of a music platform, like Spotify or YouTube or something like that. Well, once that happens, then the person, the writer, the musician, it's very difficult to make a living anymore because there's no money to be made. Your album, the music that you write, the whole reason for the whole process becomes but a jingle for the T-shirts you want to sell. So you go on tour, and you play, and then you hope that everybody's going to buy a T-shirt, and that's where you get probably most of your money, because you'd have to be a fool to buy a CD or to even, pay for a service that would download it, which ends up you end up getting nothing. The listeners would be very surprised to learn how little the artist makes off of digital downloads. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is minuscule.
It's totally ridiculous. It's becoming, at least for me, not worth the trouble anymore. So I like doing it. I like it because it's an artistic thing to do, and I like writing songs, and I like communicating through art, because I think communicating through art is what makes people and communicate, deep exchange of ideas, but now it's not there anymore. It's too much trouble. My album is so difficult to record. You wouldn't believe. I recorded part of it in part of it in Croatia, and then part of it in the UK, and then part of it in Southern California. And then it had to be sent around back and forth, and overdubs, and then the mixing process, and the vocals, and then more mixing, and rough mixes, and this and that. I mean, it was occupied. It took me 2 years to get it together. It was just not like you have a big budget, like the old days. The record company would give you, hundreds of thousands of dollars to go make a record. But, now what are you going to do? How are you going to recoup it? It was a big hardship to make the record. I think it came out great. Heck, would I love to be able to make a living for me? Yeah. Did I do it because of that? No. I'm not that delusional. But it would be nice, if it would, really afford me at least the compensation for what it cost to make. Well, I don't even know if I can calculate.
Well, we were talking during the break, and you mentioned this. 30 years ago, a band released an album hoping it would generate enough interest to go on tour. But the product was the album. Today, bands are going on tour to make their money, which is a complete flip from what it used to be.
Yeah, it's a flip. It's a complete flip. Oh, you used to it's completely upside down. That's what are you going to do?
I guess I should have said that differently. It's bands went on tour to generate interest in having the album purchased. Now it's just a means to an end. And I think
right now it's the T-shirt sale.
Yeah.
Or the hat, or whatever. That's what you said. That's where you make your money, because you can't download a T-shirt or a hat. You can download that stupid CD. Who needs to get that? We're gonna drag that thing around. But that's the way it is now. That's the way it is. You can't undo it. You can't unring the bell. It's over. And that happened around 1990. It happened completely. It was about 1992-ish, maybe 93. That's when I completely said the bottom just literally fell out of the music business. Unless, of course, you were somebody like Justin Bieber or a big, huge pop star or Aerosmith or something like that.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's changed so much because the motivation for an album is gone. Now everything is, let's write a single that we can get out there, like you said, to sell the T-shirt, to get the endorsement, to get popular. I mean, the music is almost secondary to the goal now, or the agenda, where before it used to be, if you were a musician, the music and musicianship was the agenda. You wanted to create that.
Well,
music.
yeah, sure. That's how it used to be, but it's not like that anymore. You can't. No, you can't do that. I mean, you mentioned a hit, like what hit? How does a hit? Do you think that's something that just happens like magically somehow? And that's all on purpose. I mean, I can stay here and at the risk of sounding arrogant or something, I would say, all things being equal, if my album that I just recorded was somehow I could encourage and make everybody listen to it like 3 separate times, it would be completely like accepted. It could be like a hit. But how do you make that happen? You can't make that happen. Organic, that has to be arranged. I mean, and you can't do a whole album. It would have to be, like you said, it would have to be like one song, and they have a target, and they have a target writer, and they have a target, format and a style, and it has the right producers and the right everything right there. It doesn't just happen. I mean, it's all manufactured. It's all created. It's created. It's an illusion, like anything else.
Well, music's become less about music and more about marketing and positioning.
Sure. That's all you got left. So music is kind of dead in a lot of ways.
It's a sad state. Now, you had mentioned, or we talked a little bit about UFO is on their final retirement tour.
Yeah, so that's because we were talking about UFO. That's why. We were talking about UFOs, and then UFO came up, right? Yeah, I guess, are they on? I thought they already did their farewell tour. I used to be a huge UFO fan. I was like a big fan of Michael Schenker, and then we did that the Contraband album years ago, and I ended up spending a lot of time with him. It was really kind of funny because I used to be a fan, and then I ended up being, kind of buddies with him. It's kind of weird how that turned out. That was very weird.
Yeah, things play out like that.
Yeah, weird things play out. Like I would have never thought, oh, well, someday, see that guy on the cover there? You're going to be hanging out with him. Really?
Hey, regardless of the situations with that band, All the Way to Memphis is still one heck of a song.
Is it? You like it?
It is.
I gotta say truthfully, I don't like that album at all. I don't like it, and it might be because everything that surrounded it. It wasn't a good experience. It wasn't the way it was depicted. In fact, I can go on to say that Contraband, as it's depicted on the record, never, ever played in the same room or in the same space at the same time, ever. So,
that's disappointing.
You go, how did that happen? You were kidding? And it, years ago it was, how dare you tell them that? But that's the way it was. And then when the tour started, we were touring with Rat and with LA Guns, and as you know, there was members in Contraband from Rat, Bobby Bloxer, and from LA Guns and so forth. But again, it was kind of a conflict of interest. My naivety, I don't know how you pronounce that, of agreeing to do such a thing. But, it was a very difficult situation because it wasn't as it appeared, and I kind of was very frustrating. So,
I can understand that, and I think in some ways what's that?
No, I said people love the record. I mean, people love it, and I'm glad they love it. They don't have to hear what had to happen for it to be in existence. But it wasn't a particularly enjoyable time of life for me at all.
Well, that's a horrible way to end the show. Now I feel terrible.
I know, you brought it up. It's not. It's fine. It's fine. It's just the way it goes, man. It's just the way it goes. I mean, we all have this life is hard, man. Life is hard. They don't tell you about that in school.
No. They don't like to tell you that. Hey, we're just about out of time. In case I haven't mentioned it enough, can you tell people where they can find your music, what they should be looking for, and what you're maybe going to be doing up? Well, you know what? Let's keep some of that to ourselves for now. But tell everybody where they can find your music and the new album.
Well, let me tell you, if you value my work, if you value the work of Shark Island, the best place to get it would be at at our website. You can get a hard copy CD that you could copy on your computer or whatever, or on your device, and that would be at sharkislandmusic.com. And the new album is called Shark Island Bloodline. And Bloodline is kind of an homage to all the people that were involved in making the band Shark Island. And it's 11 songs, and it's really a nice listen to it. And it has a really nice variety of pieces. Very good deep listening piece. Or if you're just totally not into that, you can get it almost on any music platform, Spotify, all the others, and it's all readily available, iTunes. Just you go for Shark Island Bloodline and get it down and support the work.
Hey, Richard, thank you so much for being with us tonight. I gotta wrap this thing up and get out of here before they kick me out. So hold on for one second.
Nice chat. Nice.
Just hold on for 1 second. We've got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. A special thank you to everyone listening in at home, in your cars, at work, and in our chat rooms, or wherever you may be. Remember, this show is copywritten by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thanks for sharing your evening with us. And remember, together, my friends, we own the night.